Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Fitri Dwi Prastiwi with student ID number 2201422049. Well, in this video, I will do teaching video about narrative text. So, good morning, class. And today, we will learn about narrative text. Did you remember what we have learned today in the previous meeting? Yeah, we have learned about descriptive text. For now, we have a new material. It's called narrative text. So, are you excited to dive deep the material today? Okay, let's start it. So, as we know, we have learned about descriptive text. For now, we have a different text, narrative text. So, what is narrative text? The definition of narrative text is a story, either spoken or written account of connected events, and narrative text, including some of type like legends, fables, folk tales, short stories, ballads, epics, and fairy tales. There are a lot of kind narrative text, right? So I think you ever heard one of narrative text. And what is the social function of narrative text? So, the social function of narrative text is to amuse or entertain the readers and to deal with actual or various experience in different way. It depends on the stories itself. And narrative text may also be used to educate the readers as it may contain messages, advices, and moral values. So, next is the characteristic of narrative text. Usually, narrative texts have a beginning, middle, and end of the story with the event that arranged chronologically, one by one story that connected. To be a good story, they have a good plot from one scene to another scene. And they use descriptive language to create vivid mental pictures of the characters, setting, and event of the story. You know, they use descriptive language to describe the characteristic of the story, the setting of the story. For example, um, when the narrative text is tell about Timun Mas, of course they describe the character that is Timun Mas as a girl that have a brilliant ideas to fight the giant, right? So they use descriptive language to describe who is Timun Mas and who is giant. Next is the generic structure of narrative text. In narrative text, we have four stages. The first one is orientation. The orientation of a story should answer the question of who, where, and when. It sets the stage for the story and helps identify the character and setting. So basically, the orientation is on the first paragraph. They they describe the main character, the setting, the location, and the time. The second stage is complication. The three parts of a story's problem are rising action, climax, and falling action. The rising action presents the problem, the climax is the peak of the problem, and the emergence of a solution. So, in these stages, there are problems in the story that rise and show climax and falling action from the main characters of the story. And the third stages is resolution. The resolution is the part of a story where conflicts or problems introduced earlier are addressed, and characters may overcome obstacles, find solution, or experience personal growth. So, when the problem rises in the second stages and the third stages, they overcome obstacles and address their problem in the story, and maybe they have a experience personal growth. And the last one is coda or reorientation. So this section appears at the end of a story, providing a summary or commentary on the characters' experiences and the impact of their action. In this section, it helps readers to reflect on the intended message or lesson. So after the main character address their problem, of course, in the end of the story, they will have a messages what they learn after they did their action, and it called as coda in the generic structure of narrative text. So in the narrative text, we have four stages. The first one is orientation. The second one is complication. The third one is resolution, and the last one is coda. Next is the language features. There are some of language features that used in narrative text. The first one is using past tense, using adverbial of time to show the chronologically event, to show the chronology and coherence event in the narrative, and usually narrative using adjective to providing more information about the characteristic, including color, shape, size, and characteristic. Yeah, they help create a more vivid and detailed story in a narrative. Also, narrative text using non-phrases. Non-phrases in narrative text provide more detailed description, highlight specific parts of characters of setting, and explain complex ideas concisely. And talk about narrative text. They have a lot of kind of narrative text, as I said before in the first meeting. The first one is fable. Fable is a story usually with animal characters that exhibit human-like behavior used for educational purposes. For example, like the three little pigs, the rabbit, and the turtle. And the second one is fantasy. Fantasy is a story featuring unrealistic characters and events. It's like the imagination of the authors. And the next one is folktale. Folktale is an oral tradition, is an old story that has been passed down verbally, offering insight to a culture's custom. For example, like Malin Kunda, you know, the legend, no, um, the story that known a lot of people in Indonesia. And the next one is legend. Legend is a story based on fact about the hero. For example, about um, Soekarno and Akartini, yeah, and etc. There's a lot of hero in Indonesia, right? And next one is fairy tale. A fairy tale involves a folkloric characters like fairies, goblins, dwarfs, often featuring magic or enchantment. And the next one is myth, definition of an ancient story used to explain life's miseries. And then there is science fiction that class of prose narrative treating of a situation that could not arise in the world we know. And the last one is biography. A biography is written record of someone else's life. For example, like I written record of someone's else life. It's called as a biography. So the next one is the example of narrative text. The title is Sangkuriang Indayang Sumi. I think this story belonged to folk tale. So I think that's all for today's meeting. I hope you um, have a new knowledge about narrative text, maybe from the list of narrative form, kind of narrative text, the language feature of narrative text, the generic structure of narrative text. So I think that's all for today. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.